Hi, everyone. I'm Sunny.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Rox. And this is
Literature on the Rocks.
Hey.
Woo!
Coming at you live from Paso.
Paso Robles.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
We're staying in this super cute little hotel. It's small, but it is super cute.
It is very cute.
Small but mighty.
It is. Yeah.
It's a little boutique motel.
Yeah. Called the Farmhouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
We definitely recommend. The customer service has been great.
It
Oh,
has
yeah.
been. Yeah, great. Straight to the room with anything you need.
It's got this cute little fire pit right outside our door.
Yeah.
We all have little patios, and it's a super cute little place.
Yeah.
Not too far from downtown.
No, a quick walk.
Yeah. So
Good time.
on that note, why are we in Paso? Well, we're here for Girls Trip.
Yeah.
Girls trip.
Girls trip.
Annual girls trip that occasionally gets missed due to life.
What's really funny is it is an annual girls trip, and I will agree to that. But we started 2 years ago and missed last year. So we've had one other annual girls trip.
Yes. Yes.
So the goal is annual girls trip. And I think we're doing it from now on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
It's
think we're
really
good.
nice. It's every
Slightly
other.
longer.
I would be okay with slightly longer too,
Or
because
a
there's so much
slightly
going
longer.
on right now.
Maybe like an extra day. Instead of
Yeah.
leaving on a Friday, we'll leave on a Thursday.
Yes.
Have a
I
slightly
agree.
longer weekend.
I like it.
Yeah, we'll do
Yeah.
that.
Next time.
We'll try that next year.
And we'll fly next time because drive.
Oh,
wow.
my goodness.
What?
What?
I was like, to Cabo? What?
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's put it on our TBV.
I don't know how we would.
To be visited?
Yes.
To be vacationed. I will say there have been some really great conversations that have happened. Lots of laughter has already ensued.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
only
Oh, yeah.
been here less than 12 hours.
We've cried, laughed multiple times.
Multiple times.
Throughout the drive, a long ass drive to get here.
Seriously. We cried laughing because we were in the car for so long.
Yeah, we started to hallucinate a little bit. All right, well, let's get into this book. You guys, this week we're reading
The Mothers
by Sarah J. Naughton. Hit us with an author summary, Rox.
Yes. Okay, so Sarah J. Naughton is a British author renowned for her gripping psychological thrillers and young adult fiction. She was born in 1975. She grew up in Dorset and pursued English literature at University College of London. After a decade as an advertising copywriter, she transitioned to writing full-time. Her debut novel, The Hanged Man Rises, a supernatural thriller for teens, was shortlisted for the 2013 Costa Children's Book Award. She followed this with another young adult thriller, The Bloodlist. Naughton later shifted to an adult fiction, penning bestsellers like Tattletale, The Other Couple, and The Mothers. Her latest work, The Festival, continues her exploration of suspenseful narrative. Currently residing in London with her husband and two sons, Naughton crafts stories that delve into the complexities of human relationships and secrets. So an interesting thing is Sarah drew inspiration from her novel, The Mothers, from her own antenatal group. In fact, one of the husbands in her real life group served as a model for one of the characters in the book. However, Sarah has kept the identity of this character's real life counterpart a secret, leaving her friends guessing and adding an extra layer of intrigue to their gatherings. Can you imagine? I'm like, I wrote this book and it's based off of one of your husbands.
No, I'd be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Wait, you'd be like, you wrote a book?
Yeah, right?
Rude. All right, well, let's get into The Mothers summary really quick. The Mothers explores the connection between a group of mothers who originally met at an NCT meeting, which means
NCT stands for the National Childbirth Trust. It is the UK's largest charity offering information and support in pregnancy, childbirth, and early parenthood.
despite their very different personalities and backgrounds, pregnancy brought them together and secrets will knit their lives together in a way no one would expect. And it's not what I expected.
It's very much so a British book. Like even that summary, having to look up what NCT is as
Yeah.
an American, but it is very much so British. There's a lot of words, right? Buggy instead of stroller or...
Yes.
All right. Well, for the cocktail today, we're actually not doing a cocktail because they drink a whole lot of wine in The Mothers in this book. And every Mother's Club, basically, they're
Drinking wine.
drinking wine in honor of the mothers. We're going to be drinking wine all the
day.
long day. All the live long day. We've already gone to Tolosa, which had some very good wine.
Delicious.
Yes.
And that was
Delicious
just on the
reds.
drive up
Yeah.
in San Luis Obispo. If you're in the area, stop by. Ask for Jeff. He's great.
Oh,
yeah.
He was a good guy.
Jeff was good.
He's passionate about his job. And yes. And so today we have reservations at Booker, but we've heard really great things about all the wineries here.
Yes. So grab a glass of your favorite vino.
Yeah.
And let's get into mothers.
Let's dive into this mother.
That's a good one.
So we're going to start off with a prologue. The whole little prologue is about a mother who's suffering from postpartum depression, clearly. She's recalls how giving birth nearly killed both her and her baby. And she decides that the world is too dangerous for him. And the only way to protect him is to take him out of this world, which is wild. But
Postpartum at its darkest.
At its darkest. He goes to smother him with a pillow until his eyes open and they meet hers and she stops. Thankfully. So then in the present, we meet Iona, who is a detective. She's shopping for a Secret Santa gift for some girl named Maya, who she clearly has a crush on, but we don't even know really if Maya's into women.
Yeah, we don't. Iona doesn't know either.
Yeah, she talks about how her partner is really handsome and Maya probably likes Yanis is his name. Her partner Yanis informs her of a missing person. It's Bella's husband, Ewan. So they head to Bella's house. At Bella's house, she's disoriented. She's clearly kind of shocked and off. Her husband's missing. She says that Ewan took his passport and isn't answering his phone. I think he's been gone for less than 24 hours. So they're kind of like, we'll see.
Yeah, like he probably is just
He just ran away with another woman.
messing around.
Yeah. Her young son notices a scar on Iona's face, to which Iona tells him a man hit her. However, the truth is he sliced her with a knife not that long ago, so it's healing. And so Iona talks about having to cover up this scar all the time, or that it's very prevalent today.
Yeah,
I
like
think
the
she's very
makeup didn't work
self-conscious
today.
Yeah. Then we go back in time 3 years prior. Bella is hosting the very first mothers group, and we start to introduce the mothers in this group. Bella, who we met, she's hosting it. Her husband's there. Chrissy's the first one to come in. She's this polished and wealthy woman who Ewan is kind of overly charming to. Then Electra arrives. She is blunt, but she is kind of glamorous. As these people are walking in, Bella's kind of talking about their status, right? Like Chrissy is a lawyer and she is beautiful and poised and nothing's kind of gone wrong for her. Electra is also of higher status. She's blunt and glamorous, but
She was a career professional woman
Yes.
before she had her twins.
yes,
And she,
but she still
makes
is
a
trying to get back
majority-
into it. She's like a publisher or something.
She makes a majority of the money within their relationship.
Yes.
And so I think her job is better than what her partner's is, right?
And then Sky, she comes in and Bella's like, oh, I don't feel threatened by her. She's got tattoos. She's got bleached dreadlocks and she seems less intimidating to Bella because she's
A hippie.
She's totally a hippie. So now they're like, okay, all the women are here. And eventually Jen arrives late and they're kind of shocked that she came at all. Jen walks in. She's fragile. She's shockingly thin. There's like hints of something that happened to her. Why is she here?
Shouldn't she be at home? Why-
Yeah,
Like,
like,
is she still comfortable coming around us?
Yes, with everything that's happened. Why would she come to Mother's Club? We don't know exactly what happened. Ewan is overly charming to Chrissy, doesn't hug Sky, but hugs Jen, and Bella's all worried about him. And he kind of makes these just remarks that are kind of douchey.
Yeah, I didn't really like him right out the gate.
Right
Yeah.
out the gate, he just seems a little
Yeah, he's too friendly with her friends and doesn't pay any attention to his wife.
and almost like she makes a comment about how she is breastfeeding and 6 more months of bloody nipples, and he gives her this gross look like, ugh, why would you say that to
Yeah.
your friends?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Oh, because he's almost like, you need, there's no other choice for you.
yes, he
This
tells
is-
her the breast is best. Ugh, disgusting. I mean, great if you can breastfeed, but also fed is best, right?
Yes.
Feed your child.
Feed your
Make
child.
sure that they are
whatever
is
you
best.
can do.
not malnourished.
Yes.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. The group, eventually he leaves and the group snaps a photo to commemorate their first meeting back after having children. And while they are all a little off, they're not quite looking at the camera, their smiles are a little off, they're kind of a bit of a mess in the picture, they all love it and ask for copies of it. And then the photo is at all of the girls' homes when the detectives visit them.
It just felt like they were just a bunch of random people who got together and became really good friends through this shared experience, right?
Yeah.
I would even say at first when you're reading it, you're like, they're just together because they've had kids and they've gone through this thing together
And
that
they need something to
Yeah.
they need someone to relate to.
Yeah.
And I don't think they really like each other, actually.
That's true. They know so much about each other.
Yes.
But also it's more like transactional.
Yes.
Catty.
Yeah, catty.
We're friends out of circumstance, not because we really want to be.
Yes.
Right.
But they still keep showing up to this mother's club.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Because they need wine.
And they want to know about each other's drama.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Back at the precinct, Yanis discovers Ewan was embezzling from the company he was working for and likely fled because so there's like the scheduled audit and they think clearly Ewan just took off. He took his passport and he's trying to not get caught taking all this money from the company. Iona is kind of like, oh, so obviously Bella knew. She knows more than she's admitting to. And he said, there's a chance that she doesn't know. Maybe we just need to do a little more digging. They go back to talk to Bella and Bella admits to them that she was drunk the night that Ewan disappeared and didn't actually see him leave. So she's like, I came back, I said goodnight when I left, but I didn't actually see him leave. But I know he left and I know he was here that night. One, he wouldn't leave our son alone. And two, there was food in the microwave and it was an empty plate when I got home. I had to clean it the next day when I came to because I blacked out drunk. But Bella says that Chrissy brought her home from Mother's Club. She doesn't really remember. Iona and Yanis then go and interview Chrissy. As a lawyer, she's sharp, she's calculating, she's not saying anything that would potentially lead them to jump to conclusions, I guess, if you will. And
No, she's saying all the right things.
yes.
She's
and
trained
all
for
the
this moment.
Yes, she is for sure. The way she talks about her friends, you start to think, well, she doesn't really like her quote friends. It's not that she's talking crap about them, but she's kind of like,
Oh, Bella was sloppy drunk again.
yeah,
Like,
once
woof.
again, Bella was.
Just
It's
had a little too
not
much.
endearing conversation about the people that they spend a lot of time with, right?
Yes.
It's just
No.
like, these are these people that I meet with once a month, or I don't even know how often the Mother's Club was. Did it say?
Like once
think
every
it
3
was-
months, but I think it started to get more and more frequent.
Yes.
And so I just meet with these ladies and they have all their characteristics and their oddities. And
Yes.
that's just what it is.
Yeah.
We are only together for Mother's Club. Like I don't
Like
actually
clearly,
see
I'm
them
a
outside of
high-end
that.
lawyer. Like, why would I be friends with this hippie on a boat?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
She's not in my normal circle.
Yeah. So she claims that Jen was the one who brought Bella inside and she was babysitting her son. So she was child minding for Bella. So Jen knew the house better and knew the alarm code so she could take care of getting Bella into the house. So they try to contact Jen, but she isn't answering her phone. Giannis is kind of doing a lot of the canvassing and he's trying to talk to some of the neighbors to see if they saw anything. And they talk to Bella's druggy neighbor. Her name's Marta. She almost seems like a homeless person. I don't know if it's actually she has a place to live, but Marta is someone that is in the neighborhood. And she tells the police that she saw the same exact thing twice in one night.
Yes.
She's like, when Ewan went missing, once she saw them come and help this woman up the stairs to get to the house when she was leaving. And when she came back from her party, I think it was, she
Shooting up
saw
after
it
she went and
again.
drank some more.
Yes, she saw them again, doing the exact same thing, saying the exact same things. And so Yanis is kind of like, okay, she's clearly on drugs.
Well,
and
yeah, they just chalked it up as like, okay, maybe this is just
Yeah.
not
Her-
the
she's
best
not a reliable
testament.
source.
Yeah, I think
Testament,
Iona is kind of like, oh,
testimonial.
that seems strange.
Yeah.
Maybe we want to revisit that later, but she's definitely not someone we could put on the stand. and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
And he's
kind
like,
of
what
a
would be the,
druggie.
yeah, why would they say the exact same thing over and over? Like,
And I think even when I was reading it, I'm like, oh, something's off.
Yeah.
This lady knows something, but we don't know what.
Yeah.
I genuinely just thought like, I think she
She's an-
lost track of time and she's forgetting what
Oh,
happened.
yeah.
She's a druggie.
She's definitely an unreliable source.
Yeah.
So then 2 years earlier, Chrissy and her husband are arguing and he like coldly rebuffs her advances. So his name is Russell and she is a badass boss lady and makes more money than him. And she does mention it and he's all self-righteous about it. And I don't know, he's definitely bitter. He's got resentments toward her for sure. But she's trying to make up and like, let's not fight. She sticks her hand in his pants like, come on, baby. And he pushes her away. So she's kind of upset and hurt, whatever, moves past it. And now it's Mother's Club. People are coming over. So Electra gets there first and she's venting about her son. She's struggling with her son. She has Ozzy and she has Pearl. Pearl's a perfect angel, but Ozzy is causing her a lot of problems and she doesn't know. Like he's not sleeping. He's angry. He throws these huge temper tantrums. So she's kind of venting about it. Jen walks in and she starts to reveal that the stillbirth that she had. So we find out she had a baby girl and she was born at full term, but she was a stillborn. And it was due to some sort of genetic defect that both her and her boyfriend have. And so the odds were just kind of stacked against her. After the baby was born stillborn, they like go home and erase all traces of the baby, just getting rid of all the stuff in the house, get rid of it all. And some of the women believe her to be really cold because of this, but Chrissy's kind of like, no, I understand. She had a hard life and she just doesn't have time to have any mourning.
Like
period.
that's her way of mourning.
Yeah, it's her coping.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
her is removing the items that are gonna make her fall apart.
I've never been in that situation, God forbid, but I feel like I could understand a little bit of it.
I think I'd avoid it. I'd be like, lock the door. I don't want to look in there for a while.
Yeah, I can kind of see that as a coping mechanism and why she would do such a thing. But then I can also see her friends thinking, like, I don't know if she's really dealing with this. Right?
Yeah. Yes. And that I think is what, like, oh, she's just kind of cold and heartless and not talking about it. So her partner's name is Elliot, and they both got this testing done and found they had this genetic thing. Both of them did. And when the doctor tells them, Elliot kind of blows up at the doctor. He ends up punching the doctor. And because of that, they ban him from the clinic. And so Jen is all pissed off because this was the best genetic doctors around and you just got us banned, and we were supposed to be getting answers from them of how we could have a baby, and now we're banned. So she kicks him out of the house and they're broken up.
Which is common for them. Like they're always bickering
Back and forth, on again, off again.
Yeah, and she talks about how he's a mama's boy, so he's just gonna run back to his mom's house, and then when he'll come around again, I'll let him move back in.
And if you think about this, they're high stress scenarios that you're going through. Like, difficult for any couple. Though I feel like the argument and the breakup and the outbursts and the coping, it's all just
understandable.
And sort of relatable, I think, in a lot of ways, because I think a lot of people would probably go through something similar if you had something so traumatic go on.
So a neighbor comes and complains that they're too loud and whatever. And so Chrissy's kind of like, we got to call it a night. And all the girls leave. And Chrissy's husband comes home. They're all drunk and sloppy and they start to go at it. And they're trying to, it's such an awkward sex scene, right? Like, because she's like, he's doing something with his hands and he's jerking himself off a little bit.
Trying to
and she realizes it's because he's still soft. But then he gets all pissed off and tries to jam it in her anyways.
Yes.
And she's like,
very
this is
aggressive.
And she's like, this is uncomfortable. And they haven't had sex since the baby was born.
Yeah.
And so she's like, it's been so long. I almost don't remember, but I don't think it's supposed to feel like this.
Yes.
And then they're both drunk and like on the steps. So she kind of stumbles and falls and she laughs and he gets all pissed off. Like,
Don't
you're
laugh
drunk
at me.
again. Yes.
Yeah.
And she kind of looks up and realizes, oh, he's still totally flaccid. So she is like, oh, maybe I can do something to help. And that's where her mind is.
Yeah.
And he gets all pissed off, like, you're drunk again. You're sloppy. It's a real turnoff. And she's like, oh, yeah, this is my fault.
Yeah.
And
he talks to her very
he's mean.
Disrespectfully all the time. And it's really annoying.
Because she's like, I had friends over. Of course I had drinks. He's like, well, what was your excuse last night? She's like, I had a glass of wine with dinner. But she starts to feel like
I
maybe
drink
he's
a lot,
right.
maybe.
Yeah, like, do I have a problem? Like,
Yeah,
I need
maybe
to
he's
assess
right.
this.
Maybe I am drinking too much. And so she decides she's going to stop drinking in an effort to help her poor little relationship.
And she even says, like, I can stop drinking. I don't need to have a drink to have a good time.
Yeah.
So I can have girls' night and not drink. Like,
Yes.
okay, we'll do this.
Yeah. Fast forward again to present. Iona and Yanis find a suspicious number in Ewan's phone log. Iona's like, who is it? Yanis tells her, it's Jennifer Baptiste. Jen's. So they head to Jen's apartment because she's not answering her phone. But when they get there, there's an elderly neighbor that she's kind of like, oh, she's gone. She shuts the door really quick. Through the window, they're looking to see if they can spot Jen, but they see blood. So they like kick down the door. Inside, they find blood along with Jen's keys and her phone on the table, but there's no Jen, which is strange. Iona makes a comment that her hair straightener is also in the bathroom, and any woman who straightens her hair never goes anywhere without a hair straightener.
And I was like, great observation, because I do not travel without my flat iron.
Do you know what? I do not flat iron my hair very frequently, but I do not travel anywhere without it.
Well, and it's because I also use it to curl my hair.
Yes.
It is my styling tool.
Yes.
So
Same.
I do not leave without
Agreed.
my flat iron.
So they go to the neighbor's house. She lets Iona in while Yanis is checking out the apartment. The neighbor shares Jen's tragic history. Both of her parents are dead, but one of them, the dad, was a drunk and he fell down the stairs and died. She recently had this stillborn baby, but she recently seems to have some sort of glow of a new romance about her. And so the detectives start to think, okay, Elliot must be a key suspect, because if she broke up with him and now she's in a new relationship, this is a very dangerous time for women. If he's an angry person, you've got to interview him.
He's got a record of punching doctors, so
yes.
What if he hurt her?
Exactly. Yeah. They go to interview Electra next. Electra seems jittery and defensive. She says that she and Jen had very little in common. Again, you get this vibe that they're not really friends.
Yeah.
They're only in this forced situation because they all became moms around the same time. She points to possible tension between Jen and Sky, though, because Sky told everyone not to get these. She has a PhD. Sky is very very smart. However, she left that life for
massage therapy.
Yes, she is.
Hey.
She's definitely found a hippie side of her.
Yeah.
But she told all the moms, don't get these scans because they're not going to do anything. They're just a waste of money.
Dangerous.
They're
dangerous
dangerous.
to the baby. Like, it's not good for the radiation. And
Yes.
You don't want to be doing these all the time. It's not good for your baby.
So most of the moms just ignored it, but Jen stopped getting the scans. And so she kind of blamed Sky because if she had continued to get the scans, they could have potentially caught the stillbirth warning signs and been prepared for it.
Or like there might have been some genetic marker. Yeah, an intervention, some fetal surgery that could have happened to prevent it from being a stillbirth.
And she wouldn't have gone 40 weeks and found out her baby was not.
Yes. Okay, so flashback 18 months. Electra is hiding a black eye and a fat lip. It's right before Mother's Club. She got a phone call from her daycare to like come pick up your son. He's having a moment. So she comes and she takes Pearl as well. And then on the bus ride home, and she's trying to get them out of the way because someone is trying to get off the bus. He's under the stroller. And she's trying to move him out of the way because people are trying to exit. And so she's trying to get them out of the way, but he's like under the stroller. She says she aggressively pushed him with her foot. And some American woman there is, I saw what you did. You kicked your son. Please do not do that. Don't kick your kids. And
first off, mind your business.
yeah. But in the flailing, he headbutts her in the eye. And so she's now got this black eye. Then that night, she has a decent night with her daughter, and Ozzy is eating spaghetti all calmly by himself, making a mess, but he's okay. And then he goes to put her son, Ozzy, in the bath, and it's not with Pearl because he's such a hot mess. He needs to rinse off first, and he throws a huge temper tantrum, and he throws his hands, and he hits her right in the mouth, which causes her to get this fat lip. So that night, the girls come over, and when Bella arrives, she's the first to arrive, and the sounds, I guess, wake up Ozzy. He starts to scream, and Bella's kind of like insinuates, like, go get him, and she's not wanting to. Electra is thinking, I'm just going to let him. I'm just going to let him scream. Like, I can't really deal with it right now.
I don't have the energy.
And a few minutes passes, and he's still screaming, and so Bella's like, really? It's okay. Go take care of him. I can handle myself, thinking that you're worried about me. And so Electra kind of walks into the room all not really willingly, but feeling like she has to. When she gets in there, she starts to hyperventilate and she can't breathe. And it's now a couple more minutes passes. And when Bella walks in, she's in the corner, and Bella realizes there's more to this story, and she goes to jump in and help. She tells her, go have a moment and I'll help with this. And so she ends up rocking Ozzy mostly to sleep. And when Electra comes back in, she sees her being just so patient and kind and helpful. And, you know, she even makes a comment when Chrissy gets there that, oh, she's been a better mother to my child than I have been.
In the last 5 minutes.
Chrissy arrives, and in this moment of vulnerability, when Electra's kind of breaking down and she tells the whole story about what happened with her son, and because her lip starts bleeding and she has a little bit of a meltdown after her kid's gone back down, Bella makes a comment like, I think maybe he might be autistic.
Like, have you had him tested?
Yes. So it kind of has this moment where Chrissy then admits she thinks that her drinking is causing some intimacy issues at home, and everyone's all shocked, like, don't spook her because she's opening up to us.
Yeah.
Everyone eventually gets there, and Jen is the last one to arrive. She shows up with a new boob job. And then after the Mother's Club is kind of coming to an end, Electra is researching autism, and she becomes more certain that her son might be autistic. But when Electra's boyfriend comes home, he shows her a letter. Someone's filed a formal complaint against her parenting, and now she's got to get it.
Basically like the UK CPS.
Yes.
And she's under investigation.
Honestly, my heart just like went out to her because I cannot imagine what that would feel like. Somebody caught you in just a moment of
frustration.
Yes. A moment where you were down in your not best self, and now they're judging you for it. And that sucks.
Yeah.
We all have shitty moments. I know I've only been a parent for 11 months almost, and I can guarantee I've had a shitty moment already.
Oh, yeah. When my kid is having a big major meltdown, it is hard to deal with it for a long time and continue to have patience for something that happens all day long. Yeah, it's not easy. When I read the book, I didn't get the vibes that she was kicking her kid.
No, I didn't either. That she was being abusive to her child. I didn't think that.
But she does make a comment that when they got home, she can see she obviously grabbed him too hard because he's got a little bit of a bruise on his arm.
And we're talking about like our kids that are not neurodivergent, and to have an undiagnosed autistic child
and not familiar with how to handle it and what the triggers are, and
which kind of goes back to our conversation with Last House on Needless Street too, where understanding where someone is coming from almost makes you have more patience and more understanding compassion for sure. Same goes with our kid. Knowing that even in this moment when Bella's like, maybe he's autistic, I feel like
she had a little bit of relief.
Yes, she feels like, okay,
there's a reason why. Like, I'm not a terrible mother to him, and he's not a psychopath. Something is not clicking with him, and we need to figure out how to make the two ends meet.
Yes. Now she's got to deal with UK CPS. So present day, forensics confirmed that the blood was definitely Jen's, and Elliot, Jen's boyfriend, his DNA is found all over it too, because,
Well, he lived there.
They end up prepping to search the river because of the conversation about, mostly I think that it's not so much Ewan that they're really searching the river for. I think they're concerned to find Jen in the river somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah, because right now they think that there was a struggle and she's also disappeared. Maybe Ewan has something to do with it because they come from the same circle.
Yeah.
And the signs are all pointing to just some sort of struggle-ish type of scenario.
I thought she ran away with Ewan.
That's the theory I had
in the
right now.
Yeah.
Yes. And I don't think they've made really that connection that maybe she's off with him. They think that there's a chance that
there's
Jen
two separate crimes happening.
Yeah, maybe started to talk a lot more, but Elliot is potentially the problem for Jen.
And they could still be connected. They just don't know how or why or maybe or anything like that.
Ewan's bank statements reveal that he has this crazy gambling addiction. He's taking out a second mortgage on the house, which is the motive for embezzlement because he is gambling. He needs more money, so he starts stealing from his company. They think, well, so Bella's definitely got to know, but Yanis tells Iona Bella's name isn't on the mortgage. So actually the bank never had to tell her anything, which is also crazy to me. It just adds another layer of their relationship. My name would absolutely be on
the mortgage.
Anything my husband and I were purchasing that was a large purchase.
Unless they had purchased it prior to her.
Which they didn't. They specifically talk about how they went house hunting, but she didn't work, so she doesn't get her name on it.
And she did work until she had a baby.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I don't want you to work anymore. You're going to stay home with the baby. And she
breastfeed like a motherfucker.
Yeah. This whole conversation is happening while Elliot is in the interrogation room. So they walk over to interrogate Elliot, and he admits that him and Jen fought before she vanished, but he didn't know that she was missing. And he's all upset. Like, how did you let 4 days pass without you telling me? And they're like, well, we thought you guys weren't together. So he provides his alibis, but Yanis is still convinced that he's at fault for Jen missing. They visit Sky on her houseboat. As they're walking up, they're discussing, what do we know about Sky? Her past includes a mental health breakdown. She was hospitalized for it for a bit. And then it was right after accusing a teacher of rape, but nothing ever came of it.
Yeah, never.
Going to school to get her PhD. And then after all this, she just decided to start her own massage business. The only things they have on file for her after that is a little bit of tax scams and cannabis bust on her record. Sky's body language when they get there is very anxious. She's definitely tense. She's nervous. She confirms the riff with Jen, blaming her for Zoe's death. Zoe is Jen's baby girl. But she also mentions that Electra might have some issues with Jen because Electra believed that Jen reported Electra to social services.
Yeah, there's always like, when they get together to interview or interrogate or talk to any of the girls, it's like, well, yeah, like we're not that close, but you should really look at this bitch because she's got this shit going on.
Yes, they're not afraid to throw someone under the bus, even if it's not.
It's like misdirect.
Yes. So when Iona mentions divers in the river as they're leaving, Sky visibly reacts and asks, wait, there's divers? She turns around, Iona turns around to say yes, and she closes the door. Expecting there to be more of a conversation about it, Sky just closes the door and end of conversation. So suspicious, but no clear motive that Sky has. Despite the suspicions circling the other women, Bella remains the only one with a real motive for any of this if Jen and Ewan were having an affair. As Iona returns to the station, the chief is there waiting. He's unhappy and he's like, a word.
Then using Roxy's word, we're going to chump into the next. Chapters 8 through 14. So Mother's Club a year ago, Sky is reflecting on the beauty of living on the river. And she's like, in the summer, it's beautiful. But when the winter comes, her daughter, Juniper, has really bad asthma and the moisture that gets trapped inside this old houseboat. It's terrible for Juniper. And she has an inhaler at all times. And Sky is in love with Juniper's gay dad, Pedro. Pedro lets her know that he has a real date for the coming weekend. And Sky's like, oh, you met him on Tinder. You're like, you're always so busy on Tinder. And he's like, well, no, this is like, we've gone out multiple times and I really like this guy.
Yeah, he's not just a
Tinder meetup.
He's active on Tinder.
He is
the way that she kind of insinuates.
Yes.
I don't need to meet this guy. He's just another Tinder fling.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And they talk about how like she really really loves Pedro, like genuinely
Yes.
loves this man who is basically emotionally unavailable to her because he's really gay.
Right.
Well, they were
It was kind of a one night stand, right?
Well, they were together, and when they tried to consummate and make a baby together, they're like, we should make a baby because we're such great friends and we love each other. He was like, it's not working for you.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm so sorry, I'm gay, because she's very gender fluid.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
And so she was thinking, like, I could be with anyone, and Pedro obviously loves me, so he
Yeah.
should be able to put aside his gayness.
Yeah. But she thought like maybe he was going to have a similar fluidity about
Yeah.
his love.
Because they do love each other.
Yeah, and I think he does genuinely, but that's not what does it for him. So
Yeah. He's
she's
not
it's a
romantically in
complicated
love with him.
relationship for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they ended up going to a
He's
clinic.
a good guy too, really.
Oh, yeah, he is. I do like
Yeah.
Pedro.
But obviously not a good husband for Sky.
No,
or-
but he's a good
genuine-
dad
yes.
and a good person. So they went to an IVF clinic and made Juniper the old test tube way.
good
scientific way.
old-fashioned
The
petri dish.
old-fashioned test tube, baby. So Sky's client arrives because she is a masseur. Masseusia. Yeah, she's a masseusia. Okay, so this guy Mort shows up. He's fucked up from falling on his bike. He's a cyclist. Checking him out, and she's like, "You're gonna need multiple appointments." So he leaves. He's very respectful, and he's a good client for
Yeah.
her. So Chrissy arrives, and Sky reflects on the fact that all of the moms were aging. Looking at them like, "Fuck, we're getting old."
Rude.
Bella shows up next. Sky gives a jade egg to the river as an offering to keep her family, which is Pedro, her, and Juniper together. Again,
Very
She's very
hippie.
like
Hippie.
crystals and energy.
yeah, and
No offense to anyone out there who is into crystals and all that.
And
but
it's a
I
jade
have
is
crystals.
I feel like especially for Sky, it's very much so her way of life is
yeah, yes, she feels like giving back to Mother
good
Earth
auras
in that way
and
will bring good
Yeah.
fortune to her.
yes.
Yeah.
So Electra arrives next, and then the group descends into the boat. And again, Jen always last.
Oh, because they alternate on who hosts
Yes,
Mother's
yes.
Club.
I
Bella's
couldn't
like
imagine trying to have a
party inside of a tiny houseboat.
yes.
Oh, I know. So Bella announces she got a job. They found that Ewan made her take a job, not in her profession, because she did have a career, but as a saleswoman in menswear at this department store.
And like retail.
yeah. Jen's like, oh, I'll watch Teddy for you because now she's going to mind
She's
child
gotta find a
mind.
child minder. And
Yeah.
Jen's like,
Electra talks about the social worker coming. She's like, they're going to come around monthly and watch my kids and me. And then at 11 o'clock at night, Chrissy is all set to leave and asks if anyone wants a lift. Then it jumps back into the present with Iona, and the chief is berating her for wasting money on the investigation of Jen. He's like, we don't even know this bitch is missing. No one has reported her missing. And now you're going to spend thousands of dollars to dredge and scuba the
Yeah.
river. Are you mental?
and isn't there, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there at some point, Iona, this is no longer your jurisdiction. It should be passed off to someone else.
That's part of this conversation is like, you need to button up your other case too, because he's not a missing guy. He ran off with the money, send this shit to fraud and
Yes.
be done with it.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you don't get this shit together, you're going to go to the diversity forum and you have to be our representative. Like, that's her punishment.
Because nobody wants to go to a diversity
You
forum.
have to go to a
No,
conference.
and she's like, why don't you send like the Muslim man? Like, why are you sending me? And he was like, you're a woman and you're gay. You're going. You're
Yes,
extra diverse.
You're the most diverse in everyone, out of
Yeah.
everyone here.
Also, that would send you to HR. Don't be telling people they're diverse.
Iona calls Chrissy again and questions her about Bella arriving twice at her flat. So she's looking into the druggie's claim that she came through twice. And Chrissy's like, no, Bella was tucked in for sleep. We only walked her once. I got a text from Jen that showed a picture of her tucked in on the couch and was like Sleeping Beauty or some shit like
she did
that.
say Sleeping Beauty.
And she's like, shows her the photo. 6 months ago at Mother's Club, Jen was dressing up to Mother's Club. And as she's getting dressed, she's like, these bitches are going to be wowed by my outfit. Like, I don't know why they let themselves go. They should be dressed. They should, it's just real nasty thoughts.
How they don't do anything for their men.
Yeah.
And
And I'm going to wear this sparkly jumpsuit and be the belle of the tavern. She refused to grieve her miscarriage. Jen was terrified of hospitals, which is why she avoided scans when she was pregnant. It didn't help that Skye was reinforcing those fears. Jen stops by her elderly neighbor, Miss Kale, to start up her heater for her. So she's lived in this home 4 years. It was her parents' home. And after everyone died, she took over the flat. So she's known Miss Kale for years and she helps to care for her. Right. So she walks to the bar and Joe, a friend from school, pulls alongside her and he gives her a ride in his like cargo van. The moms were already at the bar and they had ordered a bottle of wine and a few snacks. Jen takes advantage of happy hour. She's like, it's happy hour, guys. Why aren't we drinking cocktails?
Yeah, that's my
kind
like,
of
girl.
Let me get a round of cocktails. Chrissy talks about how her basement is getting expanded and Atanas, her Polish contractor, and how handsome he is. And he's like the center of their conversation.
This has actually been a conversation at all of the mothers clubs so far. She talks about wanting to redo her basement and expand it.
Alexa's telling everyone like we finally have Ozzy's autism diagnosis. Skye notes that Felipe, Pedro's boyfriend, has moved into Pedro's flat. So when the weather got really bad and Juniper was getting sick more frequently, they would go stay with Pedro.
Yes.
And they really were a really cute little family, but they weren't together.
Yeah.
They were co-parenting really well and they're best friends. But she's like, well, now this fucker moved in, so we can't go there anymore. And Bella's like, I have a whole top floor of my house that we don't use. Come and stay with us. And she's like, no, I can't. She's like, we don't use it. And she's like, okay, well, just make sure
Bella
you
would
ask.
bend over backwards for all of these ladies.
Yes.
Like every time they're talking about any of them, right? The first time Jen walks in and talks about her not being able to have a kid because both her and Elliot are genetic, whatever. She's like, if you want one of my eggs, she pulls her off to the side. If you want one of my eggs, I don't know if they could put DNA into my egg for you. But I will give one to you. Right?
Yeah. And she was like genuinely like, oh my God, thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
But then they talk shit about each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Bella never does, but everyone else does.
There's moments of like they're sweet to each other, but then moments of wait, are they actually friends?
Yeah, because anytime they're alone with Iona, it's snarky and nasty and catty. Jen starts child minding for Bella. She's going to be paid in cash, so it doesn't affect her state benefits that she gets. This is Bella before. This is before Ewan disappears, before the incident. She starts her new job and she feels so out of place. Like she shows up and she's like in the wrong spot. She feels like this old decrepit lady in this young space, and she meets her boss.
Selling fashion to men, but
menswear.
She feels like she's not fashionable herself and in
and
the
she
know.
feels
But
frumpy
yes.
So she meets Rupert, who's an older gentleman. Rupert is her gay best friend, and he is fabulous.
He's great.
He's so good. And he's like, don't worry, honey. We're going to get you all set up.
I know what we're doing for lunch. A makeover.
Yes. He's like, okay, this is how you work cash register. Boom, 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 boom. She's like, I'm going to do it again. He's like, this is how you do it. Boom, 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 boom. And he's like, you try. And she's like, boom, boom. I don't know. And then she like breaks down crying. And he's like, it's okay. Like, you don't have to leave. We're going to figure this out. It's okay.
She tries to quit.
Yes, a couple times, I think.
Because she
like,
hears,
I can't do this.
She hears
this is not me.
Yeah, she hears Ewan in the background. Like, you're nothing. You're an idiot. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
And she's just like,
Can't
he's
even
right.
sell men's clothing.
So after work, she is chatting with Jen and has a memory lapse, thinking Jen was asking her a question about her day. And these are starting to happen more frequently. She perceives something to be happening and it's not hallucination. So at dinner with Ewan, she lets him know that she offered the top floor to Skye and Juniper for the next few weeks. And he explodes on her.
Yeah.
And was like, why the fuck wouldn't you ask me? This is my house.
Yes.
And she's like, I'll tell them no.
There are parts that I would understand, right? If my husband told me, hey, I offered our upstairs or even a bedroom to my sister. Hope you're okay with that. I would probably feel, why didn't you talk to me?
Yeah, we needed to talk about this first.
Yes, this should have been a conversation before you just offered that. However, the way he says it, like, this is my house. You don't get to just offer the
Make
upstairs.
decisions.
Yeah.
Yes. It doesn't feel like this is a mutual relationship. It's a dictatorship.
Right.
And then their son Teddy starts choking, and Ewan's like, he's just being dramatic. He'll get over it.
Yeah.
She runs over and has to like slap
Dislodge,
him and dislodge this food. She questions Ewan's parenting for the first time. Why would you do that? Why would you not help him? But she's feeling strong in herself. Like this is the first time she's ever said anything back to you. And she's normally very
passive.
Yes. She realizes that she hasn't experienced a mood swing since she was ill and tried to murk her son and needed to make sure she's consistently taking her meds. She's like, I haven't lashed out at anyone. Something's wrong. So then jumps to Chrissy, and she's dealing with a selfish, greedy client. And in her frustration, she yells at her to get a job. So this client is like, I want to work my ex-husband in this divorce for every single penny I can get out of him.
Yeah.
And she's like, look, he is trying to be present for his kids. He's trying to do the right thing. He wasn't fighting you, but now you're asking for more, and he's going to fight back and try to get custody. And so she screams at her and is like, just get a job, get a life, and maybe your husband will want you again.
Which is so sad, because I feel like in some divorces, not just all women, but just in general, there are people like that who are going to be like, I'm going to take this person for all they got.
Yeah.
Yes.
Out of spite, out of anger, because it's a nasty breakup, and that sucks.
It does. After she screams at her client, she rushes out of the office and she narrates her failing marriage. They have been complacent, and she doesn't want to end up like her client. She's, I can't do this with my husband anymore. Like, I need to fix this.
Which is crazy because she's given up drinking. Not to say that that's this major sacrifice, but
She's making
she's
changes.
definitely making changes already to herself and her lifestyle and the things that she enjoys in an effort to have a better relationship with her husband, because she thinks if I do this, he'll love me more or want me.
Yeah. She texts her husband. He has their daughter with his parents. And she's like, maybe they should stay at Grandma and Grandpa's tonight, and we can order in some food and have a
Brown
night.
chicken, brown cow.
Yeah, and have a night to ourselves. He was like, okay. So he shows up, and she tries to get a little freaky with him. And he's, again, physically uninterested in her. Like, she comes up to him after he gets out of the shower, and he's like, can you get off of me?
Yeah.
And so she's like, isn't this supposed to be the woman who doesn't want sex anymore after a baby? Isn't it supposed to be me? And he starts yelling back at her like, well, shouldn't you be acting like a woman? Why do you always act like the man? And she says some shit like, well, if you were a man, I wouldn't have to act like one. And then he slaps the fuck out of her. Her contractor heard the commotion and walks in and is like, get away from her.
Yeah.
He breaks up the fight. And so Russell leaves. She's like, oh my God, Atanas.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is my bed.
You beautiful Polish man.
But he's like, no, ma'am. I make your basement, not your orgasms. And he
He
leaves.
is very respectful.
But trust me, I could.
He's like, I could.
I think he does say something like, I would totally do that, but
You are beautiful.
You're having
you are
a
worth
moment.
more than whatever this man is doing. I would rock your world.
Yes, but
Yeah.
he's like, you're
But I'd
you're
be taking advantage of
struggling
you right
in a-
now.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're like in an emotionally
He's
vulnerable
another
place.
good man.
Yeah.
This isn't the time to be taking advantage of you intimately.
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah.
like,
Damn it.
but please do.
But I really want you to.
Yeah.
So then
He's like, you're married.
Bella, Jen, Teddy, and Ewan are all at the breakfast table together because Jen showed up early. Jen and Ewan are...
She's late to everything, but she showed up early to this.
Yeah.
In this moment, thought, okay, she's taking this job seriously.
I did too. So her and Ewan are laughing and calm, but then Bella walks downstairs and she's like, oh. She starts teasing Ewan like she's joining in, and he just gets so venomous and nasty to her. And she excuses herself to go take her medication. Then at work, Rupert took Bella to get a makeover during her shift, and in her mind, she hears Ewan snarling that his lazy wife was out getting makeovers while he was hard at work. Like, she just hears his nasty ass in her
Commentary.
head.
He's
Yeah.
just so negative and
Foul. So he stays in his office at home all day working, and Bella was drunk by the end of the night. And after Teddy was asleep, she walks past his office and hears erratic typing and a groan, and she thinks briefly that he's spending his evenings watching porn. And she's like, you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
She's like, I'm out here taking care of my kid, and you're in the office wanking your dick.
which
I think she
I'd be pissed too. But we already know he's a crazy gambling
Yes.
man.
But she
and
also has a moment of like, should I go in there? Should
Yeah.
I confront him?
Yeah.
And this just shows how little confidence she has
Yeah.
because
Yes.
she chooses not to go in there and say anything. And I did think about, like, I would have probably just been like knocking on the door. What's going on? What the heck are you doing in here?
Right.
You know what I maybe wouldn't have bursted in, but I definitely
might
would have knocked and been like, what
Fuck's
is
going on in here?
Hello? Are you, what
don't
is
know what I
going
would've
on?
done.
Because I would have just been
I think I would have been
curious.
afraid to find out a little bit.
I would
Yeah,
have
don't
knocked.
know.
I would have knocked and interrupted, but I don't know that I would have
think
walked.
frustrations that I would have would be like exactly what you said. What the hell's going on in here? What are you
Yeah.
doing? But then the other part of me would be like, do I want to know whatever's behind this door right now?
Another chapter jumps to Electra. She had this younger guy, Zach, and he was going to university, and he was just supposed to be like this quick fling. I am a cougar. I'm
Yeah.
a fuck this boy. boy, and then I'm gonna head the fuck
It was
out.
cute.
And then she got pregnant with twins, and he was like, we're in this together.
Yeah, I'm in this for the long haul now.
And so now he works at a bar, and he left university because he needs to care
Make
for his
money.
family. And she feels terrible.
Yeah.
She feels
like
responsible.
Yeah, she feels like she ruined his life and his future.
And at some point, he's going to realize it and resent me for it.
So the next day, the social worker comes.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, oh, is Zach here? He needs to come out for this.
Yeah.
And they're like, fuck, what's going to happen? Are you taking away our kids? Like, what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
And she's like, look, it is clear there is love in this house for the children. This was falsely misplaced. We're done. The investigation is closed. There's no merit. And she kind of gets not upset, but remorseful that she's going to be gone because she did offer services to Electra and like ways to deal with Ozzy. And she's like, I don't really want to lose this part of me.
His
Right.
resource.
Yeah. At the end of that day, Electra breaks up with Zach. She lies to him. She's like, I'm not in love with you. You're
And
just
he-
a boy toy. You need to go live your best
He
life.
cries.
Yes,
And
he's heartbroken.
He's like, wait, no, I love you.
And-
This is my family. Like, you're taking my family away. What do you
Yeah.
expect me to do?
Yes. And
Yes.
there's like this new girl who's working at the bar that he brings up a
She
couple
thinks
times. And she
Theo?
thinks, Theo.
Yeah.
And she thinks they should be together.
'Cause she's
or
young and they could go have all of their
every
life
time
together.
he's like, I want to talk to you, she thinks, oh, he's sleeping with her. He's cheating on me. And so she feels like that's what he should be doing. He should be
Sleeping
going out
around
and
and living his best 25-year-old life, not be
Yes.
hunkered down with her.
So then we jump into chapters 15 through 24. Now we go to Bella before she heard Jen arrive and she's talking to Ewan. She's getting there to child mind for them, like she usually does in the morning. And she thinks that maybe Jen was talking to him about her health because she can hear them talking downstairs while she's like upstairs getting ready. And when she walks into the kitchen, they kind of just abruptly stop talking. So it's one of those feelings of like, you must have been talking about me because all of a sudden the conversation ends when I walk into the room. And so after dinner, she realizes that she was less guilty about going to work and letting someone else watch Teddy. So now we jump to Sky and she's preparing for Pedro and Felipe to come hang out with her. Mort calls and asked her for another appointment and she reflects she liked him and he seemed like a good person. So they get together, Felipe and Pedro come to the boat and he's like, we
And she's
really
still almost in this thought process. This isn't going to last. This
Yeah,
isn't a
this is
forever
temporary.
relationship.
Yeah.
Eventually, Pedro will be all to me again.
Yes.
And even if he
Yes.
doesn't love me, we'll wind up together. Just
Me
we
and
have a
him and
family.
Juniper.
yes.
And I think Felipe tells Sky, like, Juniper, we love her. She's like a part of our family. She's part of who we are as a couple, and we love having her around. And what would be even better is if we could have another one and we could use you to create this family.
Yes.
And she sort of has this moment of like, I don't know if it's panic, but it was like, no.
It's like fear.
Yeah.
She's afraid that if I do this, Juniper will no longer have her dad.
Yes.
And I will not be a part of this family. That's your guys' kid, not mine.
Right.
Right.
You're asking me to make a child that I cannot hold, that I cannot love, that I
Yes.
can't cuddle at night and read books to.
And then you guys are going to go off and have your family. And then what happens to me and Juniper? And she kind of says no right out the gate. And Felipe just starts crying.
And he's like, I know we shouldn't have asked you. It's too much.
Yes. But then he's like, but we can offer you 20,000 pounds to carry the baby.
Yeah.
And then she kind of thinks about it because she's like, I could really use 20,000
Yeah, I
pounds.
could buy a house and Juniper won't be sick.
We
Yeah.
could get her out of this
anymore.
boat and then she won't have to deal with all of these things that she's been dealing with while we've been on this boat. Then Mort shows up 20 minutes early for his appointment that day and she learned more about his life because she finds some tattoo on him. Like she's kind of surprised. She continues to work on his shoulder and she's unable to find the injury that he keeps telling her that he has. He's like, my shoulder really hurts. And
Right.
so she's like digging around trying to figure it out. She can't find it. And Mort says that he only wants a family and to give and receive protection. And she's kind of upset about Felipe and Pedro still at that point. And I think she sort of admires that that's the thing that Mort is looking for and wants to provide and wants to do. And she kind of wants that for herself and Juniper. And as Mort gets up to get dressed, he asks if she would like to drink beers together. So
But he like brought them in his bag and he's
Yeah.
like,
Eh?
you, me,
Yeah.
let's get up on this deck.
And as they walk to the deck, he admits there is nothing wrong with his shoulder and he really just wanted to spend time with her.
Which is kind of cute.
It
Yes.
is cute.
Then
But
we
it's
jump-
also kind of creepy for her because she's a sexual assault survivor.
So then we jump to Bella, and Bella is wondering if she's becoming ill again because she's starting to have more hallucinations. And the rest of the day, she is just like messing up at work. She can't get it together. There's all kinds of bad things happening. After a hard day of work and a hard day of not getting anything right, she's at home and she's wondering if Ewan was in his office working or wanking. She never fully confronts him, but she's still thinking about it, however many days later that have gone by. She goes to bed and she's kind of laying in bed. She can't fall asleep. And so she goes downstairs to the kitchen to have another glass of wine. Jen stayed sort of late. Then the next morning, she's getting ready for work and Jen is late that day. She's waiting for her. And when she finally gets there, I think she walks away. And when she comes back, Ewan can kind of have already left. And he never said goodbye to Teddy or her. And Bella confesses to Jen that she might be getting sick again. We bounce back to Jen before Ewan disappears the Saturday morning and she's waiting at a cafe. Bella and Teddy were outside the cafe and they didn't see Jen. Jen had called a meeting without Bella to discuss Bella getting sick. They agree to just watch and wait since Bella doesn't seem dangerous, but let's just kind of see what happens and see if it gets worse. And the next morning, Jen struggles with nausea. Bella walks in on her throwing up and Jen says she picked up a bug at the museum. So
I thought, nah, this bitch is pregnant.
So-
Samesies.
Then we bounce to Bella before, and she has a full day with Teddy since Jen was sick. So Bella notices when she gets dressed up, like she does her hair, she does her makeup, she feels much more confident, which don't we all?
Same. Yeah.
They go out for the day, and she goes and buys him pizza, and she's really excited about it because I made a paycheck now, and I take my son out to get lunch.
Yeah,
and
I can buy
I can
a little
splurge a little.
pizza.
I don't have to be so tight because
Yes.
I'm making money and
Yeah,
help and
might-
contribute.
A few days later, Ewan finds out about it and he just tears her up for it. She ends up apologizing, but she was so mad at herself for just being steamrolled by him. She wishes that she had stood up to him
little
and
bit,
said
yeah.
something a little bit more because she didn't really do anything wrong.
No, she had a day with her son.
So she stands in the hallway and because Ewan's in the room again and he's pounding away on his keyboard, doing whatever.
Wanking and shanking.
Pounding away on
And
something.
she thinks to herself, I don't know if I should go in there. And she looks down the hall and a tiger sort of walks out of the kitchen.
This was wild.
This
And
part is crazy.
It is so wild. And she's not scared, but also not really sure if it's real. So she's trying to figure it out. And the tiger kind of walks down the hallway and just sits next to her. And she looks down at it and she asks, what should I do? And the tiger kind of nudges her hand, kind of insinuating you need to go in there. She thinks to herself, this has to be my spirit animal and it's protecting me. It's guiding me. So when it tells her, go ahead and go in, she knocks on the office door to talk to Ewan, but he tells her to fuck off.
Like legit tells her to fuck off.
Fuck off, Bella.
Yeah, like, I'm busy. Don't come in here. So she ends up going to the kitchen and she looks at the knife block and she pulls out a small knife to unlock the door. She unlocks the door and she swings the door open and she finds Ewan. They describe it as like the door opens and she can see the computer screen and there's like bouncing fruit on the screen is the way she says it. And when she talks about it, I'm like, what? He's playing Fruit Ninja?
Yeah, right? Yes. But it's almost like slot machines or something,
That's
right?
what she said. She
But,
goes,
yes.
but it's slot machines on the screen. But that's what I thought of. I was
And
like,
you see the fruit spinning.
yes, he's gambling. He admits that they're going to lose the house and he admits that he has money stashed away and he could just disappear. He's like, I'll let you take care of all of this nonsense and all this crap that I've put us in. I'll just take this money that I've
I'm gonna
stashed
disappear
away
for a
and I'm
while.
going to disappear.
I've stole thousands of dollars and I'm safe, but you're an idiot and you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, he's like, you're gonna be a single mother. You could handle the
You'll get the
programs,
benefits.
yeah, that they have
Oh
for you.
my
and
gosh, I just can't stand this guy.
hates-
Yeah.
So she runs out of the house. She forgets her coat and she shows up to meet her friends and she's just hysterical, right? She's crying. She just unloads all of her stuff on her friends. And the last thing that she remembers from that night was crying on someone's arm. And she wakes up tucked in very sweetly on the couch, wrapped in a throw. Teddy was asleep in his bed and she walked into her bedroom and found Ewan asleep. But there was sort of this like dark patch in the center of the bed. She couldn't really see it because it was dark, and there was this strange smell. So she walks into the bathroom and there's blood all over her hands, her face, and on the counter. She starts to freak out. She searches for a wound on herself but finds nothing. And then she looks over at Ewan again and she sees that the patch is red and it's him in blood on the bed. And so then we jump to Chrissy. It's December 4th. She's laid in bed with Atanis and she thought about what it would be like to be with him properly. She's just falling for him. She had hosted Mother's Club
He's a good
earlier.
man.
Yeah.
A hard
He
worker.
has a wife and kids in Poland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Besides that.
he's here taking working to send them money, and she thinks that like he's a good man. This would be a good relationship. And he does genuinely love her too,
They
unfortunately.
for sure have totally separate lives outside of each other.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
they're both having an affair, but they also very much so care about each other.
Yes.
Yeah. And so she had hosted Mother's Club earlier that night and sent them home early. And Atanis, as they're laying there just cuddled up in bed, Atanis tells her that he's going to go back to Poland after he finishes her basement. She's sad about it, but he tells her that he'll always be there for her because he genuinely cares for her. And in that moment, the phone rings and it's Bella. Then we jump to Electra. It's when she gets home from Chrissy's. She continued to drink since she was home alone. She checks in on her ex on IG and she sees him with a woman at a nightclub.
The
And
girl
her-
Thea.
Thea,
Yes.
yeah.
And she's like, I fucking knew he would go straight to her.
Yeah.
It almost like validates why she thought she needed to leave him.
Yes.
Yes.
Like I made the
And-
right decision. I knew he'd end up with Thea.
And he needs to like be out clubbing and
Yeah.
doing all these things a
Yeah.
young person would be doing. Her phone rings and she thinks it's Zach, but it's Chrissy. So we jump to Sky and she's made up her mind on being a surrogate for Felipe and Pedro. She's not going to think about the baby not being hers, but she's going to take that 20 grand and she's going to move into a little flat with Juniper. And she feels like they're treating Sky like a body to be used.
Yeah.
So she texts Mort that she didn't want to see him anymore and she needs to focus on her daughter. And then her phone rings and it's Electra. So everybody's calling each other. Like
Yes.
the phone tree has been activated. Then we jump to Jen. She's in the car and it's freezing and Chrissy was driving her and Bella home.
Chrissy's driving them home in
Jen.
her Range Rover, windows down, because Bella's blackout drunk and
Yes.
she doesn't want her
To throw up in
to
her car.
throw up and be sick in her expensive ass car.
Yes. Which I
Pull
think
up.
even at the beginning, Iona makes a comment about, oh, that's a nice car for Bella to be blackout drunk in. She must have so much money that she just doesn't care. She did
did.
care a little bit.
Yes, she did. And they pull up on the pavement in front of Bella's house, and Jen offers to take Bella up since she knows the alarm code. And Chrissy helps Jen lug Bella up the stairs. Chrissy left Jen and Bella at the door, and she drives off. Jen takes Bella to the sofa, tucks her in on the couch on her side just in case she gets sick. And after tucking her in with the throw, she went to grab a glass of water, and then she comes back. She takes a photo of Bella, and she forwards it to the moms. That's where we end my chumpies.
So then we jump into 25 through 30. The chapter starts with the mothers on the 4th of December. Chrissy arrives at Bella's, and Bella's dirty. It's kind of dark. Electra arrives moments later. Bella kept pointing upstairs. She's crying. She's just a hot mess. So she's pointing upstairs, and they immediately think it's Teddy.
Like she's done something to Teddy. She
Yes.
really was sicker than we thought.
Yes, we should have paid more attention. And so they run upstairs. They get to Teddy's room, and he's fine. He's asleep. So then the only other room that's upstairs is their room, is Bella and Ewan's room. So they go into that room, and Ewan is laid on his back, clearly dead.
Ugh.
Oh, like if you guys called and didn't give me any heads up of what I was about to walk into and see, I'd be like, I mean, I know drama happening here, but you could have just said he's dead. Something.
FYI.
I think I killed my husband.
Yes. So they give Bella a sedative and basically just knock her out. Like
Let us
can't-
take care of
let
this
us
for you.
When they're talking about, okay, what do we do? But the mothers are then remembering all the times that Bella had been there for them, right? All the times she offered to donate her eggs and give your upstairs or whatever you needed. She was
Yeah.
there for them. And now their friend needs them now. Chrissy, so we have two options here. We can call the police and let them deal with it, or we just don't call the police and we figure out how to help her. She started her career in criminal law, and there's plenty of clients that get away with murder all the time. So they agree to go forward with a plan to not call the police, which makes me want a lawyer friend. Jen is basically tasked with cleaning the blood stain on the carpet. She helps Bella get cleaned up. It was still late in the night and it was the perfect time to dispose of a body. It's totally dark. There's not a lot of lights out.
Nobody's outside.
Yeah.
It's the perfect time.
After getting clean, she sends Bella back down to sleep on the couch and heading back to Ewan, she fills his suitcase with all of his clothes. They know that Ewan's been embezzling money and they kind of come up with this plan. So it's going to look like he just disappeared. She fills up a suitcase with all his clothes. Chrissy takes the suitcase with Ewan's passport in tow to Adonis, and Adonis agrees to leave early and take the suitcase and passport and his phone.
He like takes the battery out.
Oh yeah, they take the battery
so that
out.
it can't be tracked. So
Yes.
it's completely off.
Yes.
And he's going to take it back to Poland with him.
And
then put
turn
the
it on
yes,
when he gets there.
So it pings.
To ping the police officer. They agree not to be in touch again, which basically means she's sacrificing this relationship, which I don't think it would have ever worked, but I think that Chrissy had hopes that it could
Yeah.
have. And so this is really solidifying.
Yeah.
I'm never going to see you again.
Yeah.
So then Electra's job, she's going through the office to find Ewan's passport. And when she's searching through it, she finds receipts of all the money he lost. She finds pawn receipts, Bella's locket with a picture of her when she was little and her dad who passed away.
Genuine gambling addiction. Like
Yeah, for
he is
sure.
gambling
Yes.
away all of their assets.
There's a bunch of letters, late payments on mortgages, and she also finds an account holding $300,000.
And I think it's an offshores account too. So
Yeah.
nobody can touch it.
yes.
Oh yeah, it is an offshore account.
And he's done all his homework. It's confirming, what he said, that he was just gonna up and leave. He was. He is a shitty person.
And he was genuinely just going to leave her to deal with all of
Yeah.
this crap that he left her
Yes. This is wild too. We're back at Chrissy's house after she said goodbye to Adonis. All of a sudden she gets a knock on the door and she thinks it's him. He doesn't want to leave. I don't want him to leave either. And she's so excited. She opens the door. It's a police officer.
with. And she's like, oh shit.
But her bitch ass neighbor.
Yeah, made a noise complaint. And so Chrissy's basically like, sorry. I mean, whatever
He's
she
mad.
deals with.
He's mad. I'm doing my basement, and so
Yes.
he calls and complains.
Yes, and the police officer is kind of like, sorry. So Chrissy starts to drive back to Bella's afterwards. They sit in Bella's kitchen and discuss the secret account would be a reason for Ewan to run. Jen and Chrissy handle Ewan's body. They have to slide him down the stairs, and he's been dead for so long. He's starting to
Like
get rigor mortis. Yes, it's
kicking
starting
in.
to set in. They think maybe he's a little bit easier to manage because he's not just limp, but they do just push him down the stairs.
And they like pick him up, and they're all like, "That's definitely a dead body."
Yes,
like there's
this
no way
is
to hide
definitely a body. There's no way we can get out of here holding this body. And so their idea is to put him in Bella's clothing and walk him out just the same way that they walked Bella in earlier.
Yeah.
They're going to walk Bella out. And if anybody sees it happening from a car, it's going to look like
They
we're just
carried
helping our
Bella?
friend in. Like they're not going to be able to tell that I'm carrying this person to
A dead
to
body.
the car
Yeah.
instead
Versus
of
out of the car.
Yes,
Yeah.
to the door, which is why Marta sees it twice. She truly did. She's a drug addict, but
She has eyes.
Yes.
And she was coherent.
Yes. Bella sits calmly at the kitchen table and she feels clear and calm since the Mother Club has taken care of everything to ensure that everything is going to be all right. Chrissy suggests moving the mattress to ensure a glance around the room won't display any issues, and Jen has a plan. The Mother's Club took care of the body. They don't tell Bella the details because they don't want her to know, really.
They don't want to implicate her. She's
Yeah.
going to sound crazy already.
Well, and
We'll
they
just
don't know if she'll be able to mask it when
keep
she's
it
being
together.
interrogated.
Yes. So they also come up with a plan to act as though they aren't friends with the police, which fooled me because when I was
Fooled me
listening
too.
to them talking to Iona, I'm like, oh yeah, these girls don't actually like each other.
Yeah, these are some bitches.
Yeah.
covered all
So
the
they
bases.
did great. They basically come up with a plan that they're so different that they truly could act like they're just backstabbing frenemies.
Like we would never be a normal friend group. So
Yes.
it's so easy to
So
pretend
let's
that I
play
don't
that
like
up.
you.
yes,
Yeah.
and they really do a great job of it.
And then we jump into the last chapters, 31 through 36. Guy is sitting there cutting through the bloody sheets and the duvet into small, tiny pieces. She took Bella's knife block and replaced it with her own. And she thinks of how she doesn't believe in God, but in karma of the universe, and reveals the trauma with her teacher. He got 15 years for statutory rape, but was diagnosed with cancer, so he would die in prison. So parked in their car, Chrissy and Sky drag Ewan toward the river. And as they reach for a rope, they heard a sound in the distance. A police boat was speeding down the river. And thanks to sparse cloud cover, they weren't seen.
And it's still dark, but it's starting to get
get
light
light
a little bit
outside.
lighter.
Yes, sun's starting to rise. So before they throw him in, they figure like, shit, he's going to float. So Sky remembers she has an extra anchor that came with the boat that she's never used. She ties it to him and they roll him into the river. So Jen made another crime scene. She sets up her house to throw off the police. Then it jumps to Iona. The chief finally signed off on a search of Bella's house. Bella cries at the sight of the police warrant and Bella calls Christy. Iona is very like direct to the point.
Yeah.
Like, this is what's happening. And Giannis is like, oh, it's okay, Bella. You can call someone to be here and witness this with you. And she's like,
to witness
I'm calling
search.
Chrissy.
She's my attorney friend. Let me call my attorney.
So they're waiting. And after 30 minutes, they're like, yo, it's a courtesy to have her here, but it's not mandatory. So we're going to start this shit. And then Jen fucking pops in.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, looking for me.
And because they're not necessarily looking
this whole time.
Yes, and they're not looking for Ewan because they assume he's taken this and run to Poland.
Yes.
And so when Jen shows up, like, hey, it's like
They're like, wait, what are you? What? We thought you were missing this whole time.
Exactly.
Not
Fucking
here,
with the
dead
police.
somewhere.
So Iona scolds Jen about the police wasted efforts, and Jen's holding her ground like, nobody told you to go look for me. Who the fuck reported me missing? You guys
Which
are
is
stupid.
true.
It's all facts. They were like, we need to stop this search immediately. Like, they call off the search in Bella's house. So then they were like, where were you? She's like, I was at the Hilton. Like, I needed a week for refreshing myself.
yeah,
And
my boyfriend was a dick. We got into an argument and I left.
I wanted to have some me time. So they're questioning her about her relationship with Ewan, and Jen answers all their questions, gave the police absolutely nothing to go off of. So they had to let her go. Iona had to hand over the case to fraud. They were closing the missing persons case for Ewan. They're like, he just ran away.
And Iona's like super disappointed because this is the only case that she hasn't solved.
And
And
she's
she
like,
feels like there's more. Yes, this isn't the end.
Her gut is just on the fritz right now.
This is another one of those books. I feel like when you start to read it, I was on Iona's side. I was, yes, Iona, you get whatever these women did. They're backstabbing bitches.
Yeah.
And then you find out what's really happening and you're like, oh no, Bella's gonna get her house searched, right? Like, I hope they don't find anything.
they're going to find the bloody mattress.
Yes.
Like, Iona, stop it.
Yes.
They're just good friends. They're just trying to cover up for their friends.
This shitty man that Bella was attached
Yes.
to.
The mothers, after Ewan, they're drifting on the deck of Sky's boat. The weather is beautiful. They're having a great fucking river day. The boat's going slow, and nobody's noticing that they're dragging an anchor. They're dragging that motherfucker along the bed of the goddamn river. Electra and
He deserved it.
He did. Electra and Zach have reconciled their relationship. There were some rules though. You need to go back to school. You need to become a journalist because they split the
They split the
300,000.
3K.
She's like, I have this money. I'm not going to tell you how I got this money. And those are the rules. You go
Yes.
back to school. You become a journalist.
And
all
you
the
don't ask any questions.
yeah. That's what she said. And then you love me, goddammit.
Yeah.
So
Don't ever resent me again, okay?
Because he does come back. He wants to
does.
be with her.
he loves her. He loves their family. He didn't understand.
And he's like,
Yeah.
you've got it twisted. I'm here for it.
yeah.
So Sky and Mort started a relationship. She's falling in love with him, vowing to never tell him what she's done. She started thinking about sailing off with her daughter, homeschooling her to ensure they could travel the world.
Instead of staying on the boat
She's
that they
free.
love.
Yeah, she gets to go do and live her life, and her daughter can be healthy. Jumps to Chrissy. She remembers Atanas and looks at herself in the mirror. She's cut her hair. She's making plans to divorce Russell once her daughter starts school next year. She's ready to live her life
Her
now.
own
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
Bella was let off the boat to visit the pub. Electra and Jen would stand watch, and Chrissy and Sky jump into the water. Oh, this part's nasty. They swim towards the rope connected to the boat, and they dive underwater. Chrissy reaches for Sky's hand, and she realizes she grabbed Ewan's decaying hand under the water, and they describe how it feels like gelatin, and she can feel it slipping in her fingers.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
he's been underwater for
Months.
maybe
It's so cold down there that it's keeping his body intact.
Oh, it's so gross.
They're able to untie the rope that has Ewan attached to the anchor, and they need to strip him of his clothes. And Chrissy slips back down to cut off the coat and the ropes around the corpse. They go back onto the boat. They meet Bella at the pub. And after Ewan's death, Bella's visions had stopped magically. Someone was doing some shit to her. She thinks that Ewan was trying to drive her crazy. She also thought that perhaps Ewan would have tried to kill her and make it look like suicide. So Jen declines a drink. She's like, no, I can't drink with you ladies because I'm 4 months pregnant. Fucking knew it, Jen.
Yes.
And she's like, don't worry, I've gone to the doctor. The baby's doing well. And so they toast to Jen. Then it jumps to fucking Jen. And this is when the bombshells upon the bombshells
the
fucking
So
drop
many bombshells.
so goddamn hard.
Well, the last 30 minutes of the audiobook is just
Like,
wild.
yeah, the last chapter is fucking nuts.
Yes.
So
Because honestly, you're like, oh, great. Closure. We're done.
Yes.
Everyone lives happily ever after.
And then you find
it's like
out-
Jen. You're all, wait, there's another chapter?
yeah.
Yes.
So she's playing with Teddy and she's looking at him and she's so jealous. Like, because
a
she
handsome
asked
boy.
Bella, like, oh, does he get sick often? Like, and she's like, no, he's healthy as a horse. He has an iron stomach. Like, he's a great kid. And she's like, this bitch and this ugly motherfucker made made this healthy, fantastic boy. Like, why can't I do that? So the next day, she brings Ewan a green smoothie and she starts to flirt with him. And she flirts with him over a few days. And then one day, Ewan stays later at the house and Bella leaves before him. And they slept together while Teddy watched TV.
Like in the hallway. It was so
fucking
gross.
nasty.
And Jen's not even attracted to you, and it's
No,
just
she just wants the
wants a
DNA.
baby.
She wants
just
the healthy
wants a
baby.
baby.
So they sleep together a few times, and once she gets pregnant, she breaks it off with Ewan. She's going to pretend like it was Elliot's baby. Done. So Ewan starts calling her all hours, and he's trying to blackmail her. And he confronts her in the kitchen. He's like, I know you're pregnant. I don't fucking care. He doesn't care. And then he rapes her mouth as it's happening. She's like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. And this is when her plan bloomed. So Jen started planting evidence to make Bella feel crazy. And then when Bella came to Mother's Club crying after the fight with Ewan, Jen made cocktails for everyone, giving Bella more vodka than anyone else, which is why she got blackout drunk.
Yeah.
They brought Bella home, placed her drunk asleep on the couch, and Jen grabbed a knife and stabbed Ewan in his bed. She didn't intend to get a phone call to help save her. She was like, Bella will get off.
Well, and she's like, Teddy will find it. Someone will take care of Teddy.
Yeah, he'll go to a good home. He's a cute kid.
Yes, and it's okay. She won't go to jail. She'll go to a mental hospital because
She set up her friend to take the fall for this murder.
Yes.
This fucking bitch. She's like, she's going to wake up, not remember killing him, and then she's going to call the police.
And we'll all be shocked.
Yes. Jen knew the police are going to be too lazy and haphazard to figure it out, just like they never arrested her father for beating her mother every Saturday until one Saturday when he fell, quote unquote, down the stairs. It was a surprise when Chrissy had gone along with covering up the murder. Bella wasn't suffering and it all worked out. Jen thinks about the happy baby boy growing in her belly. He would be clever just like his mommy, clever enough to get away with murder.
Frickin' wild.
Fucking Jen.
Yes.
Jen,
you
Planned
slimy bitch.
the whole thing.
and like in a real bitch way. Like, I don't care about my friends. I don't care about any of
Yes.
this. I just want a
She
baby.
really was the backstabber that the police thought all of
Yes.
these women were.
And she killed her dad.
She
Yes.
She pushed him down the stairs.
Yes.
Oh my God.
She did not anticipate for her friends to rally around Bella.
It surprised her when it was all
And-
happening. It's
Yeah.
unfolding. She's
Because
like,
she thought Chrissy was
"Are we
going to be
gonna
by the
agree?"
book.
Yes.
So when they all rallied around her and they're like, all right, we're going to hide the body and we're going to just make this okay for Bella.
And Jen was
she
like, all right,
okay,
yeah.
I guess we're
Okay,
doing it.
we're going to
Yes.
add some sequels to my plan.
Yes.
But we're all getting away with it.
They got away with murder.
They totally got
did.
away with murder, and now she's gonna have a little baby who can also get away with murder.
Oh, but at some point I should have just slept with Joe, her friend who like pulled up and gave her a ride, but Joe was black. Like Elliot's
Oh,
an
yeah,
idiot, but he would definitely know a black
yes.
baby's not his.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Woo,
let's
Lord.
review this book.
Yes.
Okay, so we review all of our books on a 3-shot system. 1 shot is I'm not coming back for more. 2 shots, it's good enough for another, but not worth the hangover. And 3 shots, it got me up. Okay, I want to hear your guys' review first.
Oh, Lordy Lord, Lordy Lord.
Okay, I'll start.
You can
Okay.
go.
Okay, so I had a very hard time with this book at first. I started it multiple times.
Yes.
It took me weeks to get through it. And I think it's because it was read in an accent. I had a difficult time keeping up with it. There were 7,000 characters. I couldn't keep them straight. And it was just a lot happening all the time. And you had so many storylines to keep straight.
Yeah.
I struggled with that. But once I took a break, then I came back to it and gave it the attention it deserves. I think in the moment,
Yeah.
I was not in the headspace to be able to listen to it. So when I really dedicated the time, and so I would now give it 3 shots.
Oh, shit.
Wow, you really
Yes.
came around.
Got me real up. Yes, I think it was really good. Once I could keep track and really understand what was happening and really gave it that attention, it was a really good story.
Yeah.
And caught me off guard completely.
Yes.
I was not expecting that from you because you struggled so hard with it at first.
know.
You've been talking about starting it for the last few months and how
Yes.
you're like, I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this book.
I
Yeah.
thought for sure we were going to get to this summary and I was going to say
Nah.
DNF.
Yeah.
And you get what you get from me.
I thought so too, honestly.
I genuinely thought this was going to be the first summary where I was going to read a chumpy and have no clue what I was reading.
Because you DNF'd it? Yeah,
Yes.
that's so funny. Would not have been surprised if that happened.
All right, Rach.
Okay, so I just listened to this book and I had a hard time with the way it was written. I'm not a fan of Sarah J. Naughton's writing style, but the ending, I thought, okay, like we got this murder, and then Jen's fucking chapter threw me for a goddamn loop. Instead of giving it one shot, I'm giving it 2 shots. I landed in the middle. I think it's an okay book. I think I would preface it that you might struggle through it. A lot of the cultural terms are all based in the UK, which made it a little bit harder for me.
I mean, if you're from the UK, you'll be able to follow
I know
right
some
along.
of the terms, but I think the story and what happened in it, it took a twist that I could not see coming. And it was good. It was a
Seriously.
good ending.
Yeah.
So I'm leaving it with 2.
Yay. I think that's great.
Similar, felt like it does start off a little slow.
Yes.
But I blew through this book, and by the time I was over, I have like a little card of, it looks like a library card, and I track everything I'm reading on it. I do not rate it because I think rating is really stressful. I only rate the books here for this podcast because I don't like to review or rate books, honestly. So I either do no rating, or if I really, really like it, I put a gold star next to it. And this book was the first book of the year that I put a gold star next to.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I give it a 3 shots. I think it does start off slow, so it takes a little bit,
Yes.
but the ending is so
Impactful.
mind-boggling. And it was one of those that this was in your face the whole time.
Yeah.
Yes.
You heard that her dad fell down the stairs and the cops didn't really do anything about it.
Yes.
You heard she's cold-hearted. She didn't even care about the child that she lost. She just got rid of all the evidence of it. And the whole book, you hear a little bit of shit talk about Jen, and you just kind of go at the end of the second to last chapter, you go, they're all living happily ever after. They're
Yes.
all these good friends. We thought they didn't like each other. They clearly do. They're all good people. And then Jen comes out and you're like, what?
Yes.
So yes, I
She's
think
going to be
this is a
sitting
really good
there
book.
with Teddy's brother at
Yes.
play groups in the future.
Yes.
Son of a bitch, Jen.
Yes, I'm
they're gonna
so
look
curious to
alike.
know. And that's what
Jennifer.
I want to know. Is there any moment where Bella goes, that the kid looks like Teddy a little bit?
Yeah.
Or it's because she's so kind, is she's just going to be like, I'm so happy that you and Elliot figured it out and you have a healthy baby.
Yeah, like
No,
I
but
know
you know
my
what?
husband is an asshole, and it doesn't surprise me that you slept with him, and I'm gonna move past it because you helped me cover up his murder that I did, but you didn't, Bella.
No, you
Yeah.
did. But even Jen says at one point that Teddy took all of Bella's genes.
Oh,
And
right.
so
Oh,
maybe it would be
that's
the
right.
same for this baby.
Right.
Yeah, she's
So
hoping
she's
he comes out
hoping-
looking just like her and then no
Yes,
questions
no
asked.
one
Yes.
will be a wiser.
Ooh, Lord.
Man,
Wild.
you
So,
guys.
okay, I am just in a moment of excitement because this was my pick. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that everybody liked it. 2 shots, I think, is
No,
good.
2 shots is not a bad rating.
Yeah,
I was shocked I gave it 3 shots myself.
I am shocked that you gave it 3 shots.
I am very shocked.
I for sure
That
am.
was almost as mind-boggling as Jennifer's antics at the end of the book.
All right, well, that's a wrap on this episode of Literature on the Rocks. Thanks for listening to our deep dive of the mothers. And make sure you check out our prompts that are posted now. If you had as much fun as we did, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We're here for you every Wednesday.
Yes. And while you're at it, rate and review us. It helps the other book nerds and booze lovers find us. Let's be real. We love reading your feedback almost as much as our books. Almost.
You guys can keep the conversation going by following us on our social media at Lit on the Rocks Pod on Instagram and TikTok, and on our website, literatureontherocks.com.
Until next time, may your TBR be long and your cocktails be strong. Cheers.
Toodaloo.
Bye.